Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a jam-packed edition, Tuesday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. I am your co-host, as always, Rusty Bucket, coming to you from the friendly confines of East Memphis with my colleague, Uncle Buck, who is on the road, out and about.
Yeah.
Uncle Buck, tell us where you are and tell us how you're doing.
Listen, I'm a good friend, and I'm a good friend to people who don't even think they're my friends. So today I'm cruising around the streets of Memphis, Tennessee, trying to find Taylor Jenkins, letting him know that Rusty has got a bounty out for his head, and I'm just trying to protect him. Like, come on, it's just sports. But I think Rusty's ready to kill the man, and so I'm just here trying to warn him.
Not
He
ready
doesn't
to
have
kill
a
him.
Twitter.
Listen, I'm not ready to kill him, but I do have conversations with him. You know, Drew, when I woke up this morning, it was a real eye-opening experience for me. And I'm trying to
No
get
pun
Taylor
intended.
Jenkins the same. No pun. I'm like Will Ferrell. I'm never going to say no pun intended anymore because I mean all the puns. But I'm ready for this guy to get out of his clown phase, which we'll talk about that more in a minute. We're getting well ahead of ourselves as your hosts. We have segments. If this is your first time, Astronomo, thanks for already being in the comments, brother. I appreciate you. I promise we're going to get to John Collins. That's going to come up today, I'm sure. He always comes up because John Collins Sexton would be the perfect addition to this team. Wayno, thanks for joining us this morning, sir. You are exactly right. For first-time listeners, it is everybody's favorite segment, and we'll see y'all on the other side.
Look at there. We have what they call in the business a bumper, getting us to our first segment, our best segment. We do it every single Tuesday. This segment is just me and Rusty catching up. You know, we're busy people. Our weekends are full, and we don't get a lot of time to catch up over the weekend sometimes. And so we spend our first segment on our Tuesday episode of the Two Buck Sports Show to just see what the best thing that happened to each other this week was and our biggest beef of the weekend. So, Rusty, I set them up. You knock them down. What is the best thing that happened to you this weekend?
I had some great time with the family. You know, Christmas is a long season. We get a lot of opportunity to celebrate and hang out. And my mom's side of the family was a little delayed with our Christmas this year. So Maggie and I went over on Saturday and we hung out, and my nephews opened presents, and God, they got just an exorbitant amount of presents. It's just wild how much stuff they get, which is why I always give them Grizzly tickets, because A, it's an experience for them, and two, I get to go to a Grizzlies game, so I can't really beat that at all. So, but I had great family time. Played Uno. My nephews love Uno. It's like their favorite game, and I enjoy some Uno. But they got the NFL edition of Uno, and so it's got some unique rules. One of them is it's called Ice the Kicker, and it comes with a little thing you fold and make a paper football, and if you lay that down, the person who lays the card down holds the goalpost, and the other person has to kick the paper field goal through the goalpost, or they draw 3 cards. So if you miss, you have to draw 3 cards, which is fun. Then the other one, and I got hit with this one pretty hard by my nephew Ty, is if you lay a wild card down with a draw 4 that you can just hammer people with, right?
Yeah.
You can throw a challenge flag and say, I challenge you. And if you have a card that could have been played other than that wild card, you have to draw 6 cards, and they don't draw any. And my nephew Ty hit me with that, and I had to draw 6 cards. So NFL Uno is where it's at, man. It was a ton of fun.
My favorite kind of Uno is what we play at my mom's house. It's called Fast Uno or Speed Uno. And that's where you can like stack draw 4s out of turn, stack draw 2s or draw 4s out of turn. And so basically everybody just stacks them when you see them. And then the person to the right or the next turn of the person who lays down the last one draws all of them. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And so I've drawn like 16 cards before. Like, it's awful.
Wow.
Yeah, my best of the week is that it was just not busy, and it's crazy to think that is something that you're thankful for. But when I get to my 30s now with 4 kids, I'm thankful more than anything for a Saturday in which I don't have to load the family up and go somewhere, because that is an absolute chore. especially with 2 kids that are not potty trained. I'm just like, yeah, let's just stay at home and figure this out. So, yeah, we spent all day Saturday. We spent all day Monday because the kids were out of school, just at home. Where, and I tell my wife all the time, we spent too much dang money on this house to not ever be in it. So, we just had a slow weekend. It was great. What's the worst thing that happened this week?
Man, it's been a tough day today, and I don't want to get into a ton of details, but just mental health is a real thing. That's a real problem in our country, and it's worse I feel like for men, because there's so much stigma about talking about it. And so, if you're going through anything, I always end every episode with be a friend to somebody who needs a friend. And if you need a friend, hop in our DMs, message one of us on socials.
Absolutely.
Like, we're here, we're your friend. Like, you're not alone, you're not a burden. Whatever you're going through is not something that can't be handled in group. Life is hard enough as it is, and it shouldn't be done alone. And so if you need help, reach out. Like, that's the best advice I can give you. I'm not trying to be super serious, but had an incident this morning that I had to go through with a good friend. And so just if you need somebody, just reach out, man. We're always here for you at the $2 Sports Show.
Yeah, we're a bunch of idiots, but we'd be happy to include you in on the mix. There's nothing quite worse than feeling like you're on your own. And if you are bold enough to reach out to one of us buffoons, I promise we'll pick up the phone.
Absolutely.
And so, no easy way to segue out of that other than just say, my beef of the week, I'm spending my Tuesday in Arkansas. I mean, what are you talking about? Like,
it's Arkansas.
Arkansas is the only thing that Mississippians have to cling on to. It's like, oh, at least we're not Arkansas, and Arkansas does the same thing. So,
I mean, our state motto in the great state of Mississippi is "Thank God for Arkansas."
Absolutely. Yeah,
but
so I'm actually not looking for Taylor Jenkins to warn him that Rusty wants his head lopped off of his shoulders. I'm actually in Arkansas, which somehow is less exciting.
That's it, man. I'll end with this. One of my best friends in PT school was married a girl from Arkansas, and I said, Derek, that's fantastic. I love that for you, man. Just do me a favor. Make sure that family tree forks. But we've got bumpers. We're professionals now. I got another bumper. This one may or may not work. It works on the Canva. It works on the phone. If there's no audio, then Uncle Buck is going to serenade us with some sweet tones. So it's time for why all of y'all are here, and that's to talk Grizzlies.
Dang it. Yeah. I had a song queued up. I was going to sing No Diggity, but I guess we'll just have to wait for next time.
I'll have to keep moving on because while you were talking about your best in beef, I airdropped it from my phone and tried again, and it worked. Shout out to technology and the Memphis Grizzlies for getting a big MLK Day win yesterday. Ja Morant has officially been dubbed the mayor of New Orleans. I think it's time we start having a conversation about him being the mayor of Minneapolis, because he is currently owning Anthony Edwards. We've beat them the last 2 times we played them, very close, tight-knit games, but we have found ways to get wins, including yesterday on the national stage when we got a heroic performance from Jaren Jackson Jr., playing 23 out of 24 minutes in the second half. Desmond Bane was big in the third quarter. Ja Morant playing through a foot injury. Some high-level thoughts there. Uncle Buck, what was your initial thoughts and takeaways from the game yesterday?
Well, I'm the guy that just wants us to win playoff style games. I want us to be able to come back, and we have disagreeing reasons on why we got in the hole to start with. What I left with was I was thankful that we were able to get ourselves out of the mud and come back. And the Grizzlies outscoring the Minnesota Timberwolves by 13 yesterday to take a 2-point win against Minnesota was nice. I like seeing that. I like seeing your superstars play well. Like you said, Jaren had a great game. Ja had a really solid game. Desmond had a good second half. Just really good team win, and a win that you had to be taken across the finish line by your superstars, because your bench was absolutely awful. As a unit to a man, horrid.
Oh, it's awful yesterday. You had I was talking about this with a friend. Like, what's up, Evan, DG, Kenny, Wayno, Astronomo? Thank y'all for being in the comments. You know, Wayno, I don't know. Is John Morant going to sit out the next 2 games? Because that seems like a thing, right? Like, he'll play and then he'll sit out. He'll play and sit out. Hopefully he continues to play. But if he's going to sit out, this is the week to do it with games against Charlotte, New Orleans, and Utah on the horizon. But it was nice to watch us go get that win when Santi Aldama was terrible. Like, Anthony Edwards leads the league in airballed game-winning threes, I feel like, and Santi might lead the league in the rest of airballed threes because he was abhorrent yesterday. Nobody was really good off the bench yesterday. It was just a tough look on a national scale for anybody not one of our big 3. Our bench combined for 13, 17, 19, 21, 28 of our 108 points. The rest was carried by the starters. You had 24 from Jaren, 22 from Desmond, 19 from Ja, and 13 from one rookie, Jalen Wells, who looked really good. And Minnesota's rookie looked pretty good yesterday too. Rob Dillingham getting him some points off the bench. It was nice to see.
I wanted to
Astronomical from the top rope. Let's go.
The governor position is open if the mayor of Minneapolis is not.
Let's go. Astronomical top rope. Let's go. John Morant with 19 and 7 yesterday. It was a masterclass from our stars, and we took Ant's best shot. Ant finished with 32 yesterday. Naz Reid had 29, which I felt like Naz Reid is known for corner threes, and I felt like he was open for an awful lot yesterday.
Yeah. Listen, Ant, I feel like he got off. I think he had 15 points in the first quarter, and then he had a very, he's a young, emotional superstar. I feel like you're seeing a lot of Ant and Ja. I think there's some parallels there, and Ja's just a year older. This Grizzlies core is a year older, and that's the reason why you get these wins. They just haven't, that shot, and this is 2 games in a row, the shot that Anthony Edwards gets to tie or win the game in both these games are just very ill-advised shots when he's had, that his bread and butter, like John Morant, is to get to the basket, drive. That's where he's so physical and gets to the free throw line. How many free throws did he shoot yesterday?
13 or 14, I think.
18 free throws yesterday, and he settled for another fadeaway double team 3. It's just not smart in crunch time, and you see that going back to, I believe it was Ant's rookie year when that we played each other in the playoffs, and he went over top of Ja on the half court side of Ja on an inbounds pass with 4 seconds ago, allowing Ja to get a runway to the rim for a game winning layup. Right. It's just kind of things like that with Anthony Edwards. It's just head scratchers. And then Minnesota, just as how the team is run, is also a head scratcher because like Julius Randle, I wish
bad
48 minutes yesterday. He's so bad. And the Grizzlies, they got a good win. However, Minnesota did not bring their A game. They're not a perfect team, and that's the reason why I think they're 10th in the West right now.
No, you're absolutely right. I was hoping Julius Randle would keep playing yesterday because Jaren can get buckets on anybody right now, but especially Julius Randle. And this is our 3rd win in a row. Francis, thanks for hopping in, brother, out on the West Coast, man. Thank you for being here. I know that we've beat San Antonio twice. We have now beat Minnesota for a 3-game win streak. We've got a great opportunity this week again with Charlotte, New Orleans, and Utah on the horizon before we head to Madison Square Garden and play the Knicks. This is a huge opportunity for us to get some momentum back, as we've been talking about. This is a great mojo win. This was a gritty, fought-out win that we had to really grind for because we had no business winning that game yesterday. We were shooting abhorrent, which Minnesota didn't shoot a whole lot better, but we weren't shooting well at all yesterday.
It was both teams were playing trash can basketball yesterday. They were in the bunkers shooting threes like they were throwing grenades. It was just bad execution of offensive basketball, especially when you're shooting from the 3-point line. The Grizzlies shot the Timberwolves shot 32.6% from 3, and the Grizzlies shot 21. Rusty, I don't have the stats, but I don't need them. I can tell you right now, it's the first game the Grizzlies have won all year, shooting 21% from 3.
Yeah, we went 7 for 33. At one point, we had taken at one point we had taken 44 shots, of which 22 were threes, and we'd made 4 of them. 4 of 22. It was awful.
Yeah.
That's like playing like my little nephew in 2K type numbers, like where he's just hitting buttons. That's what it felt like. We were just spamming the circle button.
That's like me playing my 7-year-old on a big goal where I could just swat him whenever I want to.
Yeah.
You know, it's just silly basketball. It just didn't look good. And you know, the Grizzlies, you know, responded to a slump for the Wolves to start the game with a pretty astonishing stretch of their own of bad basketball.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to all the streaks and runs and stuff as well as we keep going, but like 15-5 to start the game, and then some subs happened, which I'll get to here in a minute. But the last 2 things about the players, we had Jaren Jackson Jr. finishing with a game high plus 24 again, was just lethal in the fourth quarter. Like nobody can hold him. Like John Morant is our superstar, but on the court this year, Jaren has been the best player for the Grizzlies, and he continues to be the best player on the court. With most people he shares outside of maybe Sacramento and a couple games here and there, he's continuing to play at an all-NBA, all-star level. And then we got the much anticipated return of Gigi Jackson yesterday in the Forum, finishing with 4 points in 11 minutes. I mean, look, we knew he's going to get some run. TJ said that he wasn't even in the rotation. He's got to earn his way into the rotation, which I'm not mad at. I don't hate that. I like the idea of him having to like earn his way into the rotation. And he looked good in flashes yesterday with that dunk down the middle and got a couple buckets. But all in all, like he just looked, this one, no pun intended, he looked rusty. He looked out of shape and having to get used to the NBA speed again.
Yeah, I didn't take Taylor's comments as saying that he didn't have he was going to have to earn his way back. If you remember, Gigi played 3 games for the Hustle within like the last 5 days, I believe, 5 or 6 days. And so it was more like he was like, I'll put him in if it makes sense, but he wasn't in the game plan. And what I think you saw is that Taylor got the fans got on Taylor a little bit. The fans wanted Gigi. The fans got Gigi. Yep. And it was the reason why I think Gigi got another run is because of how terrible Santi was yesterday. Yeah. And I am not.
Don't forget Jake.
I know this is Wayno's Super Bowl right now because of how bad Santi was, and Astronomo even is piling on today in the comment section. Santi's not a bad basketball player. He's a really good basketball player, but he's still a role player. And role players have days like that. I mean, shoot, when you shoot that many threes, it was and you miss all of them, you're going to be really bad. But let's not forget that the game before this one, Santi was absolutely incredible.
29-10. Like Wayno said a little while ago, you're going to get an NBA player and then you're going to get a hustle player. Like it's just going to be back and forth.
It's not every other game.
It's not like we'll get runs.
Game. He's been playing so good.
Yep. And Astronomo, yes, we should absolutely trade Jake while the stock is high. I hear Brooklyn is nice this time of year, and they're looking for a young prospect. And so I'm trying to ship this man to Brooklyn. Give me Cam Johnson. Let's get Jake out of here. Sell him high is what you want to do.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm good with trading Jake for the right thing. I'm just not going to be the bullheaded podcast co-host that refused to give the man flowers when he is absolutely having a career year.
Brother, I have given him his flowers, and he has settled back down to what we know he is.
Trash on Twitter.
He is.
This week.
He not trash. Oh, my God. Did you watch the same game I watched yesterday? Good Lord. Planting your flag on Jake LaRavia. Planting your flag on Jake LaRavia Island is quite the take.
Let's put it back up. Let's put it back up. You took it down, but I don't think you read it. He's 44% from 3 this year.
I get it. He's shooting the ball well. Like he's been better.
5 of plus minus on this team.
I'm
okay with trading him. I'm very not okay with calling him trash.
I'll gladly say it. That boy is trash. Okay. Has no business on my basketball team. Get him off my basketball team. But speaking of trash, man, the substitutions and rotations were quite interesting yesterday from your head ball coach, Taylor Jenkins. And so I'll kind of cue it up saying that we made 46 substitutions yesterday, and I'll give the caveat that we run a motion offense where guys run. I get that. We made 46 subs to Minnesota's 27 yesterday. In the first half alone, we had 23 to their 7, including 11 in the first quarter. I don't understand how a rhythm sport, when you have guys that need to get shots falling, you need to get in a rhythm with the game and the flow. It's like a dance. How are you going to find your rhythm and flow when we're literally making substitutions every 45 to a minute and a half, 45 seconds to a minute and a half? Like, make it make sense, Drew.
Yeah. Listen, this is just who Taylor Jenkins is. I mean, if that's the reason why you hate him, then you're never going to like him. But the truth of the matter is that your guys can't play 48 minutes a game. You've got to trust your bench at some point, and you're up 15-5 halfway through or 7 minutes into the first quarter when you pull out Jaren, and which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. When we've talked in the past, we've talked about your big gripe was that you're having Jaren, and Bane on the bench at the same time. Well, he did stagger him. He had Jaren on the court, brought in Santi. What happened is Santi had the worst game of his career, and along with the rest of the bench, had the worst game of their careers, and the lead flipped. But then Ja was only out. I wrote it down and I don't have it. I'm in my truck. I believe Ja was out three minutes. Ja and Jaren both came in after 3 minutes of being on the bench. Like, you can't be mad at the amount of time they sat on the bench. And then he took Santi out when Jaren came back in. Well, then Jaren picked up his second foul like 10 seconds later, forcing Santi back into the game and playing yesterday's awful Spaniard, more minutes in the first quarter. What you have here, the Stars were not on the bench for too long. Just while the Stars were on the bench just absolutely peed down the front of their leg in a historic way. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I get it. Like, the bench was awful. And I will concede that point. They were terrible and we could not count on them yesterday. But like, I don't understand. There's no other team in the league that when you're on a 16-5 run in a 4-minute span that you're pulling starters. Hey, let's get these guys out. And like the analytics side, hang on. The analytics side is driving me nuts because it's very clear that Taylor comes into a game with his Waffle House menu telling him how many and like the amount of minutes of guys need to play. Hang on, I'm almost done. And he doesn't deviate from that. And so when your superstars are playing and your starters are playing at a high level and you've gone on a run, like, I don't understand why we need to be the ones to disrupt that. Yeah, Taylor didn't make the bench miss yesterday, but I guarantee you he didn't help guys find rhythm by, like, listen, like again, in the first quarter alone, we made a sub at the 7-minute mark, 6:48, 3:52, 2:49, 2:22, 1:44, 1:09, and 1 second. Like, how do you find a rhythm in that? And why are you stealing our momentum by making a lineup change? Again, I don't feel like he is crashing the momentum. The offense is a communist offense in which everybody gets shots. It works with the bench. Let's not forget that this bench has been praised all year long for the depth. It just happened to be that yesterday they all unanimously sucked.
Unanimously
stunk. Like, I can't get past that because if we weren't be talking about this, if Santi hit 2 of the 7 threes that he missed yesterday, we wouldn't be talking about this.
I was talking about this in the first quarter yesterday. Like, I was talking about this in the first quarter yesterday.
But you only talk about it because it didn't work. That's my thing, is we've got to pay it. Like, coaches put players in position to succeed, and at some point, your players are horrible. If you look at the plus minuses yesterday, and you're talking about like getting into a flow, if you take the whole 48 minutes that were played yesterday, the starters were incredible. They were not missing at all. Like, you can't tell me that it got John Morant or Jaren Jackson Jr. out of the flow of the game because, you know, Jaren was a plus 24, Jalen plus 15, Ja plus 15, Bane plus 16. But then you bring in Santi Aldama, who's a -17. Laravia, -17. Scottie Pippen Jr., -12. Like, the players were awful. Just awful. You could have brought them in if you let Ja Morant finish the run and say that he was, the Grizzlies got up to a 20-point lead at the 4-minute mark of the first half. That's fine, but they're going to lose it as soon as this bench is coming in.
You're not wrong in that. And I'll say
one more point that I had to make, that you said, talking about figuring it out, or like not rolling with the hot hand. Taylor Jenkins has shown in all of the previous games leading up to this one after Houston, leaving Kennard in against San Antonio when he was on the heater, finishing with Brandon. Like, he's shown that he is willing to find the hot hand and stick with him. The problem yesterday is he couldn't find a hot hand.
Except Jaren, and I gave his flowers this morning. DG's right. The bench was yesterday as bad as Drew's Wi-Fi today. It's not awful, but it's a little glitchy. Yeah. But like, you're obviously not watching. It's a hot spot.
It's a hot
You're
spot.
obviously not watching the Two Buck Sports Show, because I've been beating this drum in wins and losses that it's going to catch up and bite us in the butt. And it tried yesterday, but then TJ, to his credit, I hope you're sitting down, Drew, made a change at halftime.
I'm in my truck. I'm short, but I'm not that short.
I can't tell sometimes because your own phone books, you're not. I can't tell. But at halftime, he decided that Jaren was going to play the second half. He played 23 out of 24 minutes yesterday and willed us to win that basketball game. Chipped away, and it was an amazing effort. But we have the same song and dance about Taylor, it feels like, every week. Hopefully, he'll have time to figure it out on Wednesday. We host the Charlotte Hornets. They come to Memphis. They have the East Coast leading all-star vote, or Eastern Conference all-star vote leading. LaMelo Ball comes to town as we prepare for the Hornets. Drew, any high-level thoughts on the Hornets? Like, for me, it's obviously it's LaMelo, and they traded Nick Richards, so they don't have a lot of beef in the post anymore. I think it's a prime opportunity, as Francis said earlier, that for the Grizzlies to get on a winning streak. Any thoughts about Charlotte coming up?
If I'm anything, I'm honest, okay? And I have not watched the Charlotte Hornets play basketball all year. I think that they have a good offense. LaMelo Ball is obviously having a really good year. And Brandon Miller is not playing.
Right.
Brandon Miller is hurt. I found that out by listening to the Jessica Benson show this morning. So that's the extent of the research I've got on the Hornets. What I do know, and it's all that matters, is that they suck and we're good and we're playing them at home. We better win.
We typically beat bad Eastern Conference teams at home, and so we got an opportunity to win tomorrow. Let's make that happen. Like, let's not let this be the sleeper. If Ja doesn't play, that's fine. Jaren needs a break, that's fine. But, like, this needs to be a game where we go and impose our will on it, like, get a professional win. DG's absolutely right. I was just about to make this point. I'm excited to see Jalen Wells try and guard LaMelo Ball, see what he's got. It's another opportunity against a high-scoring guard that he can go out and make some progress for his Rookie of the Year campaign.
Yeah.
That just, to me, continues to get momentum.
What I want to see is us have a commanding lead, blow them out, and in the fourth quarter, you put LiAngelo's song on the loudspeakers. That's what I want. I want to see John Jaren dancing to Jello's song that everybody is talking about that I've not heard yet. You could put it on the radio right now, and I wouldn't know that's what it was.
Same.
But I'd see it on Twitter, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's funny."
Yeah. So Saturday, we're at my family Christmas, and my oldest nephew Todd turns to me. He was like, "You heard that new Swervin' song by Jello?" And I looked at him, and I was like, "I don't know what any of." I said, I don't know if any of those words mean. And he was like, the new song everybody saying. I'm like Jelly Roll? Like, what is this? What are we talking about? And he played it for me. And I was like, oh, how about that?
Yeah. It's like, hey, son, isn't your dad a preacher? You better cut that out.
You cut that out.
I know I'm like, the cool uncle, but I will be a narc.
He was like, they're going to play it at the Commanders and the Eagles game. He's going to come out and sing it. And I'm like, brother, he could come out and sing it in this house and I wouldn't know who he is.
Yeah. Listen, that's what I'm looking forward to.
That's it. So getting a professional win and taking care of business as we head into the week. So We've talked Taylor, we've talked Ja, we've talked injuries, we've talked everything we need to cover. I know you're at a conference, you got things going on. Uncle Buck, is there anything else you want to be wrong about with this Memphis Grizzlies team like you are about Taylor's rotations?
Listen, I'm a big man. I can admit when I'm wrong. I feel like I'm a very even-keeled, smart individual who has no problem admitting when I'm wrong. Ask my wife. I apologize for things I don't do wrong. I'm not apologizing. I'm not wrong on this one.
We'll see about that. Look, Wayno's brought up a good point. If you're at home and you're waiting for the Charlotte game, it is interesting. They do run the floor, and which is what we do. And so this one, if you're a betting man, DG,
Over.
you can back me up on this. Hammer the over, because there's going to be a lot of points scored in this. It's going to be a track meet. It's going to be who can stay in shape the best.
Ja gets up for Hornets games. That's the hometown team, especially when they're on the road. But I think he'll get up if he's playing to play the Hornets. Listen, this is the thing, and I will say this. This is important to me, is that I don't want to see a letdown. I want to keep the momentum going. I want to see Ja play. It was mentioned in the comments that somebody, I think it was
Wayno
Francis, said that he would be okay with sitting Ja a couple games. Totally disagree. I want continuity, and I want to see them play long stretches of time together.
Yep, couldn't agree more. And yeah, this Charlotte team, I'm excited to watch the game tomorrow night. When I lived in Myrtle Beach, I'd go see the Grizzlies every time they came to Charlotte. The Charlotte Arena is the only other arena I've seen the Grizzlies play in multiple times. I've been to several others, but that one I've been to, I think I saw them play like 4 or 5 times when I was in Myrtle Beach. Spectrum Center is pretty nice. And so, I think that, hometown team, Kenny, Ja is from right down the road. He's from like the Sumter, South Carolina area. So it's the closest.
Yeah, I know it's a different state, but in Ja's rookie year, that was the first game that he had lots of people in Charlotte to watch him. And so I do think that Atlanta probably is closer, but those folks travel to Charlotte to watch Ja play.
Exactly. So tune in tomorrow. Tune into the Daily Grind. There's plenty of shows on this network to keep you entertained until we are back. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Daily Grind, 7:30. You got Anthony Sane at 12. We'll be back on Thursday at 12 o'clock. You've got the night court will drop on Thursday as well. There's plenty of college basketball. Kenny, Francis are always on the post game for the Tigers. DG's on the Grizzlies post games. Y'all, there is plenty of content at bluffcitymedia.co.
Do you have any just really quick thoughts on last night's Ohio State win over Notre Dame in the college football championship game?
I do actually. Yeah. Like like you said in the group chat last night, the Notre Dame jokes can continue for a while longer. Notre Dame absolutely crapped the bed. They made a late comeback. I like Marcus Freeman. I was rooting for them, as bad as that is. Like, I was really hoping that that they would beat Ohio State, because I hate Ohio State. But the jokes can continue, man. Ohio State had a great game plan. They played great defense. Will Howard played really well down the stretch.
Yeah, you're taking too long
to win the game. I'm almost done. I'm giving my thoughts. You asked my thoughts. And Ohio State got a good win. And it was cool to see Herbie get emotional last night about his son.
No, I disagree with Herbie. I was somehow found myself leading up to the game rooting for Ohio State because, like I said, I love Notre Dame just always being the team that doesn't get it done when it matters most. And they had outside of the Georgia win, which was flawed, they beat Penn State, who beat nobody. I could make an argument that the path to the finals was easy as opposed to Ohio State. But then Quinshon Judkins scored a touchdown, and I was like, man, I just want an avalanche or we're in Atlanta, an earthquake or something, to break out and just swallow the stadium.
I wanted both teams to lose for sure.
Yeah.
But other real quick question: any thoughts on the State Ole Miss basketball game from Saturday night?
Yeah, I think that Mississippi State got like 20 more free throws than Ole Miss in a one-score game. So home cooking happened despite the first 5 minutes of the game in which Ole Miss got down 16-2 in that Hornets nest. They call the hump. The hump. Ole Miss dominated the rest of the game. You just got yourself in a hole, and the refs got Mississippi State out of it.
No, whatever.
And that was a high level. That was a high level basketball game with some amazing shots that were hit on both sides, including Matthew Morrell tying it at the buzzer from the top of the key three. Like just some high level for two college basketball teams that we do not take a lot of pride in. We're not historically good, and we've seen a lot of bad college basketball from our teams. That was high level stuff there. That speaks a lot to Chris Beard and Chris Jans.
It does. Mississippi State does have a Final Four appearance that Ole Miss does not. There is a little bit of history there, but not a lot. RJ Melendez had one of the best chase down blocks I've ever seen in college baseball that turned into a kick out in the corner three.
I've never seen a chase down block in college
basketball. Sorry. It was an epic sequence for Mississippi State. And it was a good win for the Bulldogs on Saturday night. But that's enough tomfoolery for one day. Night court comes out tomorrow, according to Bossman Kenny in the comments. I'm like, Luke, I need a graphic to tell me when they all come out. Maybe I'll be the one to finally make that graphic for everybody.
Look at that family. Look at that family. Kenny's a family man.
He's so wholesome. So wholesome.
Yeah. So appreciate everybody hanging out with the $2 in our truck studio today.
That's it, because with the $2, this is what you get. You get a home studio, you get a mobile studio, and you always get what you pay for with the $2 Sports Show.
Yeah, as long as I'm getting paid by someone else, I got to go where the money's at. So y'all sponsor the $2 Sports Show. Let us quit our jobs, and we'll build a studio in person.
Yep, and we'll live stream it so y'all can watch. Thanks for being here. We'll see y'all back here on Thursday.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.